Did you know that you might not be entirely human? It may sound unbelievable, but some research suggests that the blood running through your veins could carry genes from an entirely different species. Among all the attempts to uncover humanity's true origins, this claim is perhaps the boldest and, surprisingly, compelling. Centuries ago, researchers stumbled upon evidence pointing to an ancient mother civilization called Mu. Some scholars argue that this could be humanity's true point of origin. But what exactly was the civilization of Mu? What kind of proof have historians uncovered that labels it a mother civilization? And could it mean that our lineage is partly extraterrestrial? Today, we'll explore these mysteries together in this episode of Digging History. In the 19th century, whispers of a radical idea began circulating, one that challenged established historical narratives. This wasn't about Atlantis, Egypt, or Mesopotamia. It concerned a civilization that predated all known cultures, a lost continent called Mu. The story began with Augustus Le Plongeon.
As you can see, the similarities between the Mayans and the ancient Egyptians are undeniable.
He became famous for claiming that the Yucatan civilization was older than ancient Egypt, but then he ventured even further. Unexpectedly, Le Plongeon suggested that a continent called Mu had once existed, and that ancient Egypt had descended from it. He argued that Mayan texts hinted at a civilization far older than anything previously known, one that was ultimately swallowed by the sea. According to Le Plongeon, the Mayans weren't a self-originating civilization, but descendants of refugees fleeing the sunken lands of Mu. However, Le Plongeon's claims were controversial and lacked concrete evidence. Questions lingered. Where was this lost continent? How could it vanish without a trace? And most importantly, where was the proof? Because of this lack of evidence, Mu faded into obscurity, until one man revived the legend, James Churchward. Churchward didn't merely speculate about Mu. He claimed to have irrefutable proof. In 1926, he published a landmark series of books, The Lost Continent of Mu, The Children of Mu, and The Sacred Symbols of Mu. Through these works, Churchward captivated audiences, providing a narrative that seemed impossible to ignore.
In light,
according to Churchward,
as one,
decades earlier, while serving as a soldier in India, he formed a friendship with a high-ranking temple priest who revealed secrets that would change his life. One day, during a casual conversation, the priest unveiled something extraordinary: ancient stone tablets inscribed with a mysterious language. The tablets appeared sun-baked and weathered, though they were crafted from clay rather than solid stone. The language, called Nagamaya, was known to only 2 others in India at the time. Fascinated, Churchward made a deal with the priest: teach him the language, and he would carefully preserve the tablets. The agreement set Churchward on a painstaking journey to decipher the messages. Once he understood the Nagamaya inscriptions, Churchward concluded that the tablets originated from the place where humanity first appeared, Mu. But the revelations didn't stop there. The tablets described in vivid detail the creation of Earth, the rise of Mu, and the advanced civilization that thrived there. The people of Mu, known as the Nakal, lived on the continent roughly between 50,000 and 12,000 years ago. Churchward claimed that they were a black race of remarkable sophistication, surpassing even modern humans in many ways. Mu reportedly had a population exceeding 64 million, 7 major cities, and colonies spread across other continents. The inhabitants were organized into 10 tribes, but united under a single government and religion, forming one cohesive civilization. Now, let's move on to the burning question.
Get back!
Where exactly was Mu located?
Run as fast as you can!
Hurry! It's
Churchward
coming!
claimed that this lost continent lay in the Pacific Ocean. Yes, you heard that
Rise
correctly.
up! The end
According
is
to his research,
here.
Mu stretched from the
All
Marianas in the
hope
west
is
to
lost
Easter Island in the east,
before the
and from
time.
Hawaii in the
Hold
north
on to me.
down to Mangaya in the
Don't
south.
let go!
It wasn't a small landmass
Somebody
either.
help!
Historians estimate it was even larger than South America, making Mu one of the most immense continents ever imagined. But what was hidden within this vast land? Beyond the Nakal people who called it home, the continent teemed with natural beauty. According to Churchward, Mu featured sprawling rivers, towering hills, and fertile plains. What began as weathered tablets, inscribed with a cryptic language, eventually revealed an entire civilization, one that may have been the cradle of humanity. Yet, as you might expect, the account of a single man, no matter how credible he seemed, wasn't enough to convince skeptics. Many wondered if Churchward was correct in supporting Augustus Le Plongeon's theory that Mu was the mother civilization of humanity. What became of over 60 million people living on such an advanced continent? Where did they all go? Churchward's answer was startling. They vanished, he claimed.
Look at the uniformity of these structures. They can't be natural.
No,
Mu was
seismic
obliterated
readings confirm
almost
they are
overnight.
perfectly aligned.
Yes.
What are we looking at?
Overnight. He described a sudden cataclysm of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, which shattered the land. The broken terrain fell into that great abyss of fire, he wrote. In a single night, the continent sank beneath 50 million square miles of ocean, taking with it the civilization that had given rise to ancient Egypt and other historic cultures. Skeptics naturally questioned this story. If Churchward indeed read the tablets provided by the Indian priest, where had the original artifacts gone? Were they hidden somewhere? Or did Churchward fabricate the story entirely? Before dismissing it as fiction, consider this. Additional evidence of Mu began to emerge. One remarkable account came from the renowned mineralogist and archaeologist William Niven. Born in 1850, Niven spent his life discovering rare minerals and collecting ancient tablets.
Are descendants of
In
Mua's
1921,
lost art.
while excavating in San Miguel Amantla, he uncovered more than 100 tablets engraved with scripts too complex for most to understand. Yet Churchward claimed he could decipher them. According to him, the inscriptions resembled the Nagamaya language he had learned from the Indian priest decades earlier. Could these texts also have been created by descendants of the Mu civilization? Churchward affirmed that they matched the language he had studied, further supporting his theories. But the tablets weren't the only evidence. Beneath the Pacific Ocean, some researchers point to unusually defined structures that seem too precise to be natural formations. Could these monuments mark the remnants of Mu? Churchward argued that the signs left behind by this advanced civilization were bold enough to challenge conventional views of human origins. Perhaps the most famous examples are the Moai statues of Easter Island. These colossal stone figures, crafted by the Rapa Nui people, are unlike anything else in the world. Built between 1250 and 1500 AD, they are instantly recognizable for their oversized heads, which make up nearly 3 times the size of the body, and their lack of legs. The tallest,
The composition
named Paru,
is identical.
stands around 10 meters high and weighs roughly 82 tons. When asked about their purpose, the Rapa Nui explained that the Moai were built to honor their ancestors. But here's the mystery. Who were these ancestors, and where did they originate? The location of Easter Island aligns perfectly with
Coincidence?
Churchward's map of Mu. Could it be that the
Or
Rapa Nui
connection?
were descendants of the lost continent? Think about it. How else could people from that era conceive of constructing such massive monuments without the knowledge of an older, advanced civilization? And let's not overlook the main material used, volcanic tuff, which required skill and understanding to manipulate on such a scale. This particular rock, volcanic tuff, is relatively soft and easy to carve, formed by the compression of volcanic ash over
Buried
centuries.
for millennia,
It's
these
believed that the
artifacts
Rapa
whisper
Nui people
tales of
sourced this
empires
material
long
from an
since
extinct
turned
volcanic
to
crater
dust.
called Rano Baraku, right on the island itself. That's also where the Moai were originally carved. However, historians soon raised an important question. Even with the tools and resources available at that time, it would have been nearly impossible for the Rapa Nui to move these massive stone figures across the island. So how did they do it? The answer given by the islanders themselves is as mysterious as it is fascinating.
But what if the tablets were
According to ancient oral traditions,
knowledge?
the Moai walked to their
Something
resting
else
places.
entirely.
Yes, they literally walked. When researchers interviewed the island's elders, they repeated this same legend. But of course, it's hard to imagine giant stone statues walking on their own. To find a more rational explanation, scientists Terry Hunt and Carl Lipo conducted experiments and proposed that the statues were moved upright
without proof,
using ropes to rock them
just
forward
a
in a
myth.
walking motion.
And
This theory
myths
turned out to be surprisingly
always
consistent
start with
with the
truth.
islanders' stories. Others, however, suggest a different approach, that the Rapa Nui might have rolled the statues using wooden logs. This idea makes practical sense, but it would have required a tremendous supply of timber, something the island may not have had. Then there's the most controversial theory of all, the one that fascinated James Churchward the most: spiritual energy. Some legends claim that the Moai were infused with supernatural power that allowed them to move themselves into place. Churchward leaned toward this explanation, insisting that the Mu civilization,
what if the people of
from which
Mu
humanity descended,
weren't human
was
at
far
all?
from ordinary? If they weren't like us, then who were they? Before diving into that question, let's consider more evidence that might give credibility to Churchward's mother civilization. Beyond the famous Moai, there's another global phenomenon that could connect directly to Mu: the pyramids. Across continents, we find enormous stone structures built with astonishing precision and uncanny similarity. How can civilizations separated by oceans and millennia construct monuments that follow nearly identical principles? Take Egypt's Great Pyramid of
These
Giza,
lights
for
are your
instance.
guides.
A structure so perfectly
Remember
aligned
their
that even
pattern.
modern engineers are baffled by its mathematical precision. Now compare that with the pyramids of Teotihuacan in Mexico. Despite being built thousands of years later, they mirror Egypt's design principles almost exactly. And that's not all. In China's Shanxi province, ancient pyramids, even older than those of Egypt, have been found, and they follow the same geometric blueprint. So, how did ancient builders from opposite sides of the world create nearly identical architectural marvels without ever contacting one another? Could it be coincidence, or something far greater? What if the people of Mu were the link between all these civilizations, spreading their knowledge and architectural mastery across the planet after their homeland was destroyed? One theory proposes that the survivors of Mu carried their wisdom with them as they dispersed across the world, leaving behind clues to their existence,
Look out!
carved
The
in
waves
stone,
are huge!
just like the tablets James Churchward claimed to translate. Perhaps Churchward wasn't the only one to discover such relics. Maybe others found them too,
The walls are
but kept silent.
falling!
Another idea goes even further, that these pyramids weren't mere tombs or ceremonial temples at all, but sophisticated energy centers, constructed using technology so advanced we still can't fully comprehend it. Could these be the last remnants of Mu's lost science? And if so, what kind of beings possess that knowledge? Brace yourself, because the next part of this story
The bridge is
gets even
collapsing!
stranger.
Hold on
The
to
more
me,
you uncover
Alara.
about Mu,
We have to go
the
now.
more you start questioning your own origins, and whether humanity, as we know it, is truly human. Let's step back for a moment and look at who the people of Mu were believed to be. As described by Augustus Le Plongeon and later expanded upon by James Churchward, Mu was said to be the first great civilization, the cradle of all human knowledge, science, and spirituality. Every major culture that followed, from Egypt to the Maya, may have inherited fragments of Mu's wisdom. This would certainly explain how such early societies achieved architectural and astronomical feats that continue to puzzle modern engineers. But if Mu predates even ancient Egypt, how could its people have developed such mastery over science, engineering, and language thousands of years before recorded history? That's where the theories turn cosmic. What if the people of Mu weren't human at all? Enter the ancient astronaut theory, the idea that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth in the distant past, shaping early civilizations and guiding their evolution. And as unbelievable as it sounds, this theory isn't just wild speculation. Traces of similar accounts appear in ancient texts and myths from all around the world. Consider the ancient
The data
Sumerians
clearly
and their
indicates a
stories of the
shift in the
Anunnaki,
Pacific Plate boundary layer.
celestial beings
We
who
need to
descended from
monitor
the
this
heavens to shape
specific area
humanity.
closely.
Or the Mayan Popol Vuh,
As the
which
great
speaks of sky
oceanic
gods
plates
who
diverge,
created
the
mankind
searing
from
mantle
nothing.
beneath is exposed.
Even the Hindu Vedas describe the mighty Vimanas, flying machines piloted by the gods themselves. Legends of contact with extraterrestrial life are scattered across cultures and continents. Some researchers argue these were not just myths, but accounts of real visitors from beyond our world. And if that's true, could the lost continent of Mu have been their first landing ground on Earth? The testimonies from the tablets all describe the people of Mu as astonishingly advanced. Their rulers were depicted as semi-divine, holding wisdom and technology far beyond what one would expect from an ancient civilization. Could it be that Mu was not just a human society, but a hybrid civilization, blending human and extraterrestrial lineage? If so, it brings a chilling implication.
Churchward's myths have no place
Some theories
here.
The fallacy
suggest
of
these
Mu is
celestial
easily
visitors
debunked.
may have intentionally intervened
This
in
lost
human evolution.
continent is pure fantasy.
Ancient
The
texts
Mayan
repeatedly
glyph here
hint
matches
at
the
divine
Naga Maya
beings
symbol.
creating
But
or
the
altering
Egyptian
humanity,
translation
which
contradicts
could
it.
imply
Only in this
genetic
iteration.
interaction
Look at the
between
earlier
extraterrestrials
text.
and early humans. In the modern scientific world, such ideas are dismissed as absurd. But imagine the scandal this would have caused millennia ago. So scandalous, perhaps, that the entire continent was wiped from the face of the earth in a single catastrophic event. And here is where the story takes its most dramatic turn. It wasn't the discovery of the Moai, the pyramids, or Churchward's translations alone that startled historians. It was the complete disappearance of Mu and its people. For all other theories, scholars could tolerate speculation, but a vanished continent, home to a civilization of millions, defied every known law of history and geology. Geologists, in particular, were skeptical. A landmass of Mu's purported size, home to over 60 million people, could not simply vanish. The Pacific Ocean floor has been meticulously mapped, and no evidence of a sunken continent exists. Plate tectonics, earthquakes, and volcanic activity could not account for the sudden disappearance of a landmass so vast without leaving a trace. Then there were the Nakal tablets, supposedly discovered and translated by Churchward. The problem? No one else ever saw them. Without independent verification, the entire narrative rests solely on Churchward's word. Linguists also challenged his claims, noting that similarities in architecture and language between ancient civilizations could have developed independently, without any shared origin in the Pacific. With no genetic, linguistic, or geological proof, Mu's story seemed impossible. Yet, an intriguing question remains. Why do so many cultures tell tales of a lost homeland swallowed by the sea?
We have to ask ourselves, was
Could there be
Mu
a
a
kernel
symbolic
of truth behind the myth? Some researchers offer alternative explanations. Perhaps Mu wasn't a literal continent, but a symbolic or misinterpreted memory of real historical events. The Sundaland theory proposes that Mu may refer to a vast region of Southeast Asia that sank at the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, roughly matching Churchward's timeline. Others suggest that Le Plongeon may have misread the Mayan texts, interpreting references to a place called Mu as a lost continent, when they might have symbolized something entirely different. And regarding the destruction of Mu, Churchward described cataclysmic earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Could these myths be echoes of real-world disasters, like the flooding of Doggerland in Europe?
Look at this
or the
significant
submersion of
anomaly here on the
Sundaland?
grid lines.
Rerunning the scan.
Perhaps the story of
the
Mu
contour map
is a
confirms the
fusion of historical
discrepancy.
events, natural disasters, and cultural memory passed down through the ages. So, was Mu truly the mother civilization?
But if
of
Mu
humanity?
never existed, why
Did
do
we
so many
inherit genes
civilizations
from a
remember a
hybrid race?
homeland lost to the sea?
Even today, science has no definitive answers, and neither do we. What's your take on the Mu civilization?
From the code,
Share your thoughts in the
the
comments.
ancients rise.
If you enjoyed this journey, hit the like
spiral
button
holds
and
the
subscribe
truth
to stay updated on our
inside.
latest explorations.
Were they our
Keep your
ancestors,
curiosity alive,
or
stay
something
open-minded,
far
and until
greater?
next time, keep digging into history.